Welcome to the Red Conrad Show, the story of my life and world events how I see them. If you like the show, don't forget to subscribe. Let's get this going. If you enjoy the show, please subscribe for subscriber-only content. You can find links to subscribe at show.redconrad.com. Subscriptions are available directly through Spotify, as well as through a Memberful account, where you can access subscriber-only content on any podcast listening platform. Whatever platform you prefer to listen to podcasts on, you will be able to listen to my subscriber-only content on that platform via a feed specifically for you through your Memberful account. Again, the links to the subscriptions can be found at show.redconrad.com. Hello everybody, how you doing? Now, I just want to mention that, on Facebook recently, there's a conversation going, questioning why, a lot of younger people, stay at home, don't have jobs, don't really want to do nothing. And as far as I'm concerned, there are some people of all ages that are fucking just flat out lazy. There are people out there that do take advantage of, the welfare system and stuff. But some people in the comment section did point out to this person that, their child in particular, and that they're sure, as I'm also sure, that there's plenty more out there that could do this. High school, up to, late teens, early 20s, the kids are focused on education and extracurricular activities. There is no time for work, because the original poster mentioned how, they were, I forget the poster's name, but they are like a famous person, well-known person. I can't remember the name though. But they posted how, they've been working since they were 15 years old, and they don't understand how you have somebody can be like 19, 20 years old and not have a job, right? So one person commented how, their kid is still in high school, but they're involved in extracurricular activities or whatever. Other people more or less agreed to saying that, their kids, working now, but in high school they had extracurricular activities. When they went to college, they were focused on their schoolwork. They were, too busy between schoolwork, homework, and other activities related with the school to really have time for work. And for some kids, that's true. And there are other kids that aren't involved in any of that crap that get away with not working because they're bankrolled by their fucking parents. Me, I did, oddball jobs since I was 8 years old. I'm raking leaves, shoveling snow, that kind of thing. And then, as soon as I was old enough to get a real job up in New York, so my 16th birthday, I went out, and instead of celebrating my birthday, I went out and I got a real fucking job. I went hunting for a job and went home with a job. And then I'd go to school, I'd go to work, and, it is what it is. My homework still got done, all that crap, but, so I belong to the crowd of people that, pretty much always work. But there are people that, just don't. Not while they're in school. Whether, they're involved in extracurricular activities or they're bankrolled by their fucking goddamn parents, believing, that they shouldn't have to have a job until after college. There are people out there that believe that, and they raise their kids that way. But one particular commenter, which really fucking pisses me off, suggested that the reason why people aren't out there working, particularly in their 20s, is because they're lazy and they're hiding behind mental illness and using mental illness to abuse the welfare system. I just want to put it out there that fucking mental health or mental illness is a very serious fucking thing, okay? Yes, there are a lot of mental disorders where somebody can be, normal functioning society with the assistance of, medication and or therapy, okay? But you do have people out there that either never got diagnosed. The older the generation, you have more people, particularly men, that never got diagnosed and still went out and worked or started their own businesses or whatever, had our issues, but didn't know what the hell was wrong. Because it was believed for a long time, particularly amongst men, that, we're not allowed to have issues. Okay, it was all this mental health awareness stuff, especially in the direction of men, is relatively new. Alright, because like I said in previous episodes, even when I was growing up, I was still, taught more or less that men aren't allowed to have issues. Men basically aren't allowed to have emotions. To talk about your feelings is effeminate. To have any kind of mental disorder is effeminate. Men don't have problems. Which is partially the reason why when I was originally diagnosed, I didn't want to hear that shit. Because, that meant that I was broken. Okay? And I didn't want to believe that. I also didn't want to hear, at age fucking 25, that when I was diagnosed with my more severe condition, that because of that one condition in particular, that my therapist didn't want me to work for at least the next fucking 10 years. He wanted my medication, therapy, and disability. And he even initiated the disability process for me. I got the notice in the mail from Social Security. I never followed through. Alright, I didn't want to hear that shit. I wanted to work. I didn't want to hear, or I didn't want to believe that something was that majorly wrong with me that I couldn't do what I had to do as a man. Okay? So, and I did ring this person out. Alright, I mean, I was as polite in my response as I possibly fucking could be. But I did more or less tell them to check their ignorance and educate themselves, because mental health is a very real fucking thing. They don't know what people like me go through. I mean, I pointed out that there are people like myself that were diagnosed eventually with different conditions, and we still do what we gotta do. And then there are those, particularly in the older generations, that were never diagnosed because they never, when you wanted to speak to somebody, it was unheard of to do that, especially if you were a guy. So you just didn't. You just, you found a way to do what you had to do as a man to support yourself and support your family. There was no options. And yeah, this did lead to a lot of, dysfunctional fucking families, a lot of dysfunctional people. A lot of guys that went unchecked did end up losing everything and end up on the streets or whatever. Others, could have ended up behind bars because they were misunderstood. But that's just how society was. Like I said in prior episodes where I covered mental health, I do appreciate the fact, that society is talking about mental health more so even than when I was growing up. There are a lot more guys now even talking about their own diagnoses openly, which I am glad to see. But unfortunately, there are still these ignorant motherfuckers out there that don't understand just how serious mental health is. And mental health, to me, as a sufferer, is just as severe and serious as somebody with a physical condition. No, I'm not saying that, everybody out there that's got mental disorders should be, rushing to break the welfare system. I don't believe in that shit. Like I said, I was diagnosed with some severe conditions. I was told by my therapist when I was originally diagnosed with my more severe condition that he preferred me, get on disability for at least 10 years, therapy, medication, and, 10 years down the road, we then go back and see if he felt I was, cured enough or coping enough that he'd feel comfortable with me going back into the workforce. I didn't want to do that. There are other people out there that are diagnosed with shit, serious shit, that don't want to hear that shit, and we all found ways, and it's not easy, okay? Because I'll tell you right now, as far as I'm concerned, me personally, it wasn't easy for me to do what I've done with my life. It's not easy for me to do what I'm doing now, trying to get through my life. I've always had problems holding down jobs, so I always had 2 or 3 jobs at a time. So that when I lost one, I still had a paycheck coming in, and I went out and I found a replacement right away. So I always had paychecks coming in. Then when, after I got recruited into my first business, I kind of fell in love with the idea of working for myself. I liked the idea of business. So after that business, I proceeded to go on to start my own. Finding one that I actually enjoy doing, that I'm comfortable running, that has relatively low overhead. It's even with low overhead, it still works. It's still stressful. Okay, it's no easy fucking task for people like me to do what we do. Like these so-called normal people don't understand what it's like, people like me, to wake up in every fucking waking moment of every single fucking day. We are literally battling our own minds. They don't understand. If you're one of those people that don't have mental illness, you don't know anybody with mental illness, I'm telling you right now, you don't understand. If you believe that people with mental illness are abusing the welfare system, and we're all fucking lazy, I'm telling you right the fuck now, you don't understand what we're going through. And no, we're not lazy. I, for one, have a cocktail of mental illnesses, going from, I was diagnosed, officially diagnosed with dysthymia, bipolar, general anxiety, PTSD, BPD, and the PTSD being the more severe of my conditions. Dysthymia, is a very deep, long-term type depressive disorder. And life for me, for people like me, is not easy. And yeah, there might be those of us that are on disability, are on the welfare system, collecting benefits. But there are plenty out there like me that we're told by our therapists that that's the life they prefer for us, that they want us on disability, they want us collecting benefits, they want us, taking medications, they want to see us, at least fucking twice a week for X amount of time, and then we'll go back and look at, are you coping well enough to be that where I, the therapist, feel comfortable that you, the patient, can enter the workforce. There are those of us that heard that line of shit and did just that. there are those that, do have lesser severe mental illnesses that don't really need to be on disability or welfare, and probably are. I'm not going to say that there aren't. But even those people, would I view them as abusing the system? Not really. Because even if you find them on one of their better days, where they seem normal, you don't know how they are on their bad days. Okay? Listen, if you're new to my podcast, if you're new to this show, listen to the other episodes. Pay for the subscription and listen to the subscriber-only episodes and get a really good fucking picture of how my mind works and how the fuck I am. And you might begin to understand that there are people out there that are that fucked up and we're not on the welfare system. That life for us really is difficult. I mean, I do my best. Okay? I've been in and out of counseling, more or less since I was fucking like 16 years old. I was diagnosed back then with the bipolar. I was diagnosed with everything else later on, a couple years later. Not the same therapist. I've been in and out of counseling, so I really only go, when I feel I need it and I'm really, really bad. But through my research and studies, I decided I don't want to take man-made medications. So I actually did some research and hunted down natural remedies that work for anxiety and depression. And I found one. I actually found two that work. One is a little bit cheaper and works better than another one I found. So I've been taking those products when I can. A lot of therapists here where I live now are all jackasses. I don't feel that they're very helpful to me. So what I've been doing for quote unquote therapy has basically been, continuing my own personal research into my conditions, reading stories, listening to stories from other people that have my conditions. I talked to a good friend of mine. I started my show. I tried starting a blog series a few years ago before, I ran out of time for that, and back then I really wasn't ready to be as open as I'm being now with the podcast. But each and every day, every waking moment of every day, I'm battling my own mind. Okay, I'm dealing with memories of the past where, every time I make a mistake, particularly with the situation I'm in right now. Okay, I gotta deal with memories of the past where I was told by my family I'm a failure. I'm not going to succeed at anything in life. I'm a fucking mistake. Okay, this is the shit that I grew up with listening to. That every time I make a mistake, every time I run into a fucking problem, this shit replays in my fucking head. Okay, I spent most of my life trying to fucking prove this particular person wrong and prove myself wrong. Prove to myself and to this other person that was telling me this my whole life that I'm not a fucking goddamn failure. That I am a success, and how other people define success, I did temporarily reach at one point before I lost everything, and I've been struggling since to get that back. But the reason why life is so hard for me is because of the shit that I gotta deal with inside my own head. I don't view things the way most people do. I don't respond to things the way most people do, and a lot of people with mental disorders don't. People with mental disorders see things different, react to things different, And some of us know this. There's a lot of us that are self-aware, but the self-awareness doesn't really help. It only makes things worse, because it's like we know we're making a mistake, we know we're about to make a mistake, and we can't really stop ourselves. Like we literally are watching ourselves fucking screw up, and that hurts even more, because like we understand so much about ourselves and about our condition that like we're aware of what we're doing. We're aware of the consequences of what's about to happen, and we can't stop it. And despite that, a lot of us still go on to continue trying to do what we gotta do. Like me. I'm in a really fucked up situation that, if it was that simple, that easy to get assistance, at this point in time, I'd fucking gotta take it. But I am not on Social Security disability. I am not on fucking food stamps. I am not on welfare of any fucking goddamn kind. I am here with myself and my mind and all the fucking different various thoughts that race through at 1,000,000 miles a second. Me trying to do what I gotta do. Keep my business going. Keep my fucking income coming in. All the while, I got all these fucking negative thoughts bombarding me. Memories from the fucking goddamn past. Thoughts of self-doubt and shit. Just constant, non-stop nagging on me. And I gotta deal with, and I gotta fight every single day. And I gotta make sure I win, because God forbid any of these thoughts triggers my anxiety or triggers my fucking depression. That's it, I'm done. Down for the fucking count. And I don't have any fucking damn assistance to fucking fall back on. And there's a lot of people like me that don't. And if you're somebody that does have mental illness that's listening to this, as much as mental health is being spoken about nowadays, I really would like to see it get spoken about more, particularly amongst men. I mean, I have seen some videos and stuff of other guys, talking about their diagnosis and their particular condition, and putting information out there to try to get people to understand them, or just the condition in general, if they know anybody that has that particular condition, which is great. I'd like to see more of it. I'm seeing a lot of things in particular of all ages when it comes to ADHD, but I'm not really seeing anything spoken about BPD other than the BPD community. So if you're listening to this and you happen to have been diagnosed with BPD, please consider speaking out about it, to people other than other sufferers, because we really need to end the fucking stigma and ignorance against our condition, as well as against mental health in general. The fact that there are still people out there that are ignorant to, the severity of certain conditions and what people go through, and they're gonna make this judgment. Everybody, all of us fall in the same category, that we're all fucking lazy sacks of shit, hiding behind our illness to collect fucking goddamn welfare is fucking bullshit. And that's gotta stop. I mean, there's not much left in this world that pisses me off. I've come to terms with a lot of things, but people being that ignorant like that when it comes to mental health really fucking pisses me off. And I'm sure I'm gonna have somebody that's gonna listen to this, or hear somebody else say more or less the same thing that I'm saying, and say, well, you're just getting offended because you're lazy. You can think that all you want. You don't know me. I don't know you. So you can think that all the fuck you want. If you hear somebody else say that, and you think about, and you think that about them, You don't know them. They probably don't know you. You can think that all the fuck you want. I don't fucking care. That person probably doesn't fucking care. Because the fact of the matter is, I'm not lazy. If I was lazy, would I be running would I still have a business 4 years later? Would I have busted my ass and dealt with everything I've dealt with the business that I spoke about on this show? If you didn't listen to that story, go back and listen to that story. Would I have dealt with all that bullshit if I was fucking damn lazy? Would I have, when I had my fish market, before Florida changed the regulations on me and I couldn't afford the regulations, so essentially got regulated out of business, would I have gone out on the goddamn water every fucking goddamn morning, picking up my lines, cutting my fish, cleaning my own fish, packaging my own fish, and selling my own fish to my customers? Literally driving to it was a mobile fish market, basically, more or less. I'd go to my customers, and then every fucking night set up my long lines again, so I'd have fresh fish in the morning. Would I have done all that for fucking 3.5, 4 years before I got regulated out of business? Would I have sunk all my savings before that business into my first business I started down here? Before, due to my own lack of research into the competition and the industry in this area, would I have sunk all my money and 1.5 years of my time into that business before essentially, being out-competed? For that business, would I have spent fucking goddamn 5 years in my studies and obtaining a fucking goddamn degree if I was lazy? Okay, so I'm not lazy. I'm busting my ass. Okay, I've pretty much been on my own, taking care of myself for the past fucking 18 years. How's that lazy? I've been on unemployment once. Okay? And that was, 13, 14, 15 years ago? Something like that? Once. I don't take welfare. Okay? Even if I tried, I don't fucking qualify. Even if I wanted to. Because I'm fucking self-employed. I'm literally busting my ass, doing what I gotta do to take care of myself. If Joanne was still alive, if her cancer hadn't taken her, she'd fucking goddamn tell you. Man, she'd fucking tell you, what I deal with every damn day. She'd have some fucking stories about what we've been through before her cancer took her away. So no, people that suffer with mental illness are not fucking lazy. There's a lot of us that are quite possibly the most stubborn, fucking hardworking people you've ever fucking gotten met. Because not only are we trying to do what we gotta do in our jobs, in our businesses, and whatever, we're also struggling with our own minds. We're in a battle that you have no idea is going on. And even if, the person that with the mental illness does tell you about their battles in their head, I can guarantee, no matter how hard they try to explain just how bad it is, you have no fucking clue how severe that battle inside their own fucking mind is. Because unless you have mental illness, you just don't know what the hell their mind's going through. You've got no fucking clue. I mean, everybody will say, for example, If you're not a parent, don't tell me how to raise my kid, right? So if we're gonna use an argument like that, unless you got a kid, don't tell me how to raise my kid, kind of thing, right? Which is a pretty common fucking argument. There's a lot of people out there that would agree with that. Well, the same is true when it comes to fucking mental health. Unless you have a fucking mental disorder, you've got no fucking idea what the fuck the person that's suffering is going through inside their own fucking head. You've got no idea how severe their condition is and how much of an effort they're actually putting in to get by day to day, to, whether they have a job or whether they got their own business. You got no idea what they're going through to be successful in their job or in their business. This ignorance of people needs to stop. As much as mental health is being spoken about, it needs to get spoken about more. It really does. And I'm glad to see that particularly the ADHD community are open enough with themselves that they're able to put themselves out there to the general public and make people understand what exactly ADHD is all about. And when someone with ADHD does a certain thing, don't be upset because it means this, I personally like to see something similar to that done with all the conditions, particularly BPD, because I suffer with BPD myself, and I have found, a number of people that are talking about it publicly. The problem is, most of us BPD sufferers only seem to be talking to other BPD sufferers, and only targeting other BPD sufferers, if we've gotten to a point where we're coping with it pretty good. So now we'll reach out to other sufferers and, teach them our coping skills. That's mainly what I'm saying. I'm not really seeing too much BPD awareness, like to the general public, where people are trying to say, well, I have BPD, so if you know me, or if you know anybody that has BPD, this means that, don't take it personal, blah, blah. I'm not really seeing much of that, at all. So there are certain conditions, BPD included, I would like to see getting spoken about more. But mental health overall, we really, really, really gotta work a little bit harder to get it out there in the fucking goddamn front lines and make people aware. Because, it has come a long way since I was a kid, since I grew up. It really has come a long way. But there are still blatantly ignorant fucking people out there when it comes to, people that suffer with mental health, with mental illness. And it's just, their ignorance bothers me. It just does. Like, even if they're not talking to me directly, or even about one of my conditions, even if they're, more talking about, another kind of condition, or another type of person, just the fact that they're talking about mental health in general, and sticking that fucking label on mental health in general, it fucking bothers me. Because I take that as an attack personally against myself. I take it as an attack against everybody that I know that has a mental disorder and is suffering. Because this person has no clue what the fuck I or my friends have been through and what we had to fucking deal with. Just as we don't know what other sufferers are going through. I mean, if you're listening to this right now and you're a sufferer, we might have similar stories. We might even have the same or similar conditions with the same or similar severity levels. But it doesn't mean that we've lived the same exact life. It doesn't mean that, we'll view every single thing the same exact way. We're different people. And that's what I think bothers me the most about these ignoramuses. They don't seem to understand that those of us that suffer with mental illness are people. We might not have, a physically showing condition, like something wrong with our physical health, that is disabling, noticeably disabling. But mental health can be just as disabling as physical conditions are. And if they're going to look at somebody with a physical condition as they're still a person, then why the fuck aren't those of us who suffer with mental health viewed as we're still a person? What the fuck? Now, I also do have some physical problems. Some genetics, some I did to myself, like my nerve damage in my back, for example. I did that to myself. I was stupid. Gave myself that injury. But my arthritis is genetic. I have a couple of other conditions that I believe are genetic. That I've had in most of my life. But even so, if these people are going to view physical conditions as those people are still people, they're just disabled, then why are those of us with mental health issues not viewed as we're still people? Because we fucking are. We're still people. We might have a harder time doing certain things, or we might not see things the same way you do, but we're still fucking people. This fucking ignorance has to stop. It just does. And I'm going to say again that I am glad to see mental health awareness has gotten as far as it has, even since I was growing up. Because when I was growing up, it was still highly, highly, highly stigmatized, way more than it is today. So it has come a long way, but it still has a ways to go. I would really like to see this conversation continue. I really want to see, mental health awareness grow by even more leaps and bounds. It really fucking has to. There are still ignorant people out there who just have no fucking clue, and view sufferers as nothing but a bunch of fucking goddamn lazy do-nothings hiding behind their illness. And that's just not fucking true. Not true at fucking all. Quite frankly, I've actually seen people have nothing wrong with them mentally, nothing wrong with them physically, and somehow, some way, they're still on SSDI. They're still collecting fucking goddamn food stamps. They're getting every kind of fucking benefit you can think of imaginable. But they have absolutely shit wrong with them, mentally or physically. They're perfectly able-bodied and able-minded to hold down a job or start their own business or whatever. But they said something on those applications that apparently they were deemed eligible for these benefits. Okay, so as far as I'm concerned, the lazy ones that are abusing the system are all your quote-unquote normal people. I see more people that have mental issues and physical issues out there fucking goddamn working, busting their ass, trying to fucking prove to themselves and to other people that they're normal. That their condition, whether it be mental or whether it be physical, doesn't define them. So if you're one of these idiots who fucking think that us mentally ill are fucking goddamn lazy and hiding behind our fucking illness, your ignorance is at some kind of fucking goddamn new levels of ignorance. You are a special kind of fucking stupid. Because, not that I'm not gonna say that there aren't, those that physical or mental that aren't abusing the situation, because I'm sure there are. But from my own experience, from people that I've fucking seen, people that I've met, people that I know personally, I've seen more people that are perfectly fine and capable of using the system, and more people that are mentally ill and or physically disabled that are busting their ass to fucking goddamn do their job or run their business or do whatever it is they gotta do to provide income for themselves. Whether it's a traditional job or a traditional business, or it's a home-based business or network marketing, whatever. Some of them I've seen get involved in stock trading. But the fact of the matter is that they're doing what they gotta do to make a life for themselves and earn an income. Some of them, the mentally sufferers of mental health are not the ones that are fucking responsible for, in large part, abusing the system, so to speak. Any of you who feel that way really needs to fucking check your ignorance and fucking educate your fucking damn selves. Pay better attention to what's going on in the world around you. Particularly if you're one of those idiots who grew up with a fucking silver spoon in your fucking goddamn mouth. You haven't seen the fucking goddamn world. You haven't seen the world not the way that I've seen it. I grew up fucking goddamn lower middle class and poor. Okay? I've seen and I've had my success already, like I've said. So I've seen everybody from the poor to the rich and in between. I've seen all these different communities. If you really think that people that suffer with mental illness are lazy, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. And just to help prove my fucking goddamn point, I will dare you to walk in. These days, I don't know how much of it's actually done in person anymore, because everything is done electronically now. But just for shits and giggles, walk into one of these fucking offices. So I'm sure there's still those that still do this in person. And pay attention to everybody who's trying to fucking goddamn renew or apply for some kind of welfare. I can guarantee most people you see will be able-bodied and able-minded. They will not. You won't see all that many people at all that are clearly, suffering with a mental condition, or that are clearly, have some kind of physical disability. I can guarantee it, because it ain't us that's abusing the goddamn system. The ones that are abusing the system, the ones that are in large part lazy, are all you so-called normal people that don't have any mental health condition, that don't have any kind of physical disability. It's in large part you people that are the lazy ones. Because most of the people that I know have a mental condition or a physical condition, and probably are severe enough that they could get disability for it, and don't. Like me, they want to prove to themselves that they're normal, that they can do this, that they can take care of themselves, and they're out there fucking busting their ass, working each and every fucking day. All that being said, I'm going to say one more time and end this episode. I do appreciate how far mental health awareness has come over the years, but it's got leaps and bounds to go. There's still ignorance out there, open ignorance, that needs to be quelled. People need to be educated how severe mental health issues really are, the battles sufferers go through each and every day just to do what we do. It's not easy. The fact that we gotta fucking be on some form of medication, learn coping skills to deal with our issues, deal with the battles in our minds, just so we can go out there and do what the average person can do without all that extra stuff. People really need to be made aware of this. And people really need to see that, even those of us that are severely messed up, that therapists have mentioned, they would rather us be on disability, aren't. That we're going against what our therapist fucking told us, and we're still out there trying to work. We're still out there trying to support ourselves. Because even though we have our therapist telling us that we belong on disability, we don't want to do that. We want to be fucking goddamn normal. So rather than allow ourselves to be put on disability and into the welfare system and become another fucking statistic, we're busting our ass to be like the average person. People need to see this. People need to be made aware of this. I'll see you in the next episode.
Hi everyone, this is JJ, the co-founder of Good Pods. If you haven't heard of it yet, Good Pods is like Goodreads or Instagram, but for podcasts. It's new, it's social, it's different, and it's growing really fast. There are more than 2 million podcasts, and we know that it is impossible to figure out what to listen to. On Good Pods, you follow your friends and podcasters to see what they like. That is the #1 way to discover new shows and episodes. You can find Good Pods on the web or download the app. Happy listening!
Thank you for listening to this episode of The Red Conrad Show. Don't forget to subscribe, and remember, if you're not listening on Spotify is the home of my subscription-only content. So any stories you want to hear that have part 1 or they're missing pieces on the free side, you gotta hop over to Spotify and subscribe to the subscription content to get the missing pieces of those particular stories. I will see you in the next episode.